Hello, finance. We're picking it back up in Chapter 11, Careers and Taxes. We've got a 10-minute video. I'm going to try to make this one quick because I rambled a lot last class. So we're getting started right now. To be fair, the last video was a little longer than it should have been. I don't think we needed a 10-minute pep talk on how to deal with your emotions, but, you know, hey. Wait. I'm gonna pause this. Hold on. I gotta move myself so you guys can see this. It says, just because you're good at something doesn't make it a strength. You also must have a passion for what you're doing. That is what qualifies it as a strength. So words are very important. This guy, Marcus Buckingham, he's defining strength a little bit more. He's given a little bit more definition than the dictionary version, right? So just because you're good at something doesn't make it a strength. Some of you are naturally good at math. Doesn't necessarily make it a strength. For example, I had one student. She took pre-calculus with me in 12th grade. We finished the pre-calculus textbook, and then we even spent the last quarter of school doing nothing but calculus 1 to prepare her for college calculus. She hates math. She's really, really good at it. Hates math. Every time I'd ask her if she wanted a career in math, she'd just say, I don't really like math. So just because she was really good at it doesn't make it a strength. I'm really curious. I wonder if she'll ever actually do a career in math. I don't know. But she has the option, which is great. Okay, let's get on with the video.
As you begin to move forward in your career, one of the things you want to make sure that you do is you understand you.
Forgot that guy's name.
The better you understand yourself, the better you're going to know the type of job and career that's going to suit your personality type. For example, anyone that interviews here at Dave's office takes a DISC profile. They also go through heavy interviews because we want to make sure that we're getting the right person in the right role. It's better for everyone all the way around. The DISC profile is a simple test that will yield tremendous insight into how you process decisions, what your natural tendencies are. It'll help you understand you better and also help you understand others. For example, in the DISC profile, there are 4 different personality types.
This is on page 231,
the D
in case you're wondering.
is decisive.
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, we're starting on page 230.
The S is stabilizing, and the C is cautious. You see, a D, the decisive, is a faster moving individual. They look at problems. They want to fix things. The I, the interactive, is a fun-loving person, but they're concerned about people. They want to make sure that everyone is having a good time. The S is stabilizing. They're focused on pace. They want to make sure that everything is progressing just fine. The C, the cautious, is focused on details. They love information. They want to make sure that processes and procedures are being followed. So as you begin to look at these 4 distinct personality styles, you want to understand which one are you? Where do you fit on this model? It's important to understand that because when you begin to know yourself, now you can begin to understand your own strengths and your weaknesses. Self-awareness is important. If you're only working for money, you're going to be miserable. You're not going to be happy. You want to find something that blends your skills, your abilities, your personality traits, your values, your dreams, and your passions. The key to being a successful person, it's all about relating with others. It's about understanding yourself, understanding how do other people tick? How can I communicate better with them? How can I relate better? If you can communicate and relate better with people, you're going to be more successful in your career. Go to foundationsu.com. Take a quiz to find out your DISC profile right now.
Okay, so my class, we have I have different websites that I link DISC profiles to, because actually, I can't remember if that Foundations U one is very accurate. I guess I'll have to take that one again. But I remember when I first started teaching this class, I took the DISC profile on Foundations U, and I was not so impressed. But it's a good thing to figure out. And I'm going to have you guys take an online version if you haven't taken it already, and we'll talk about our results in class. But it's a good thing to figure out how to properly use your personality strengths and to build on your personality weaknesses. Like, for example, I think I can't remember. It was in the last chapter. It's hard for me to figure out how long ago this was for you guys because I record videos multiple multiple videos in one day. But I remember in a previous video I mentioned how me and my wife are opposites, and I would rather just leave school by walking through the hallway, talking to no one, going straight to my car, talking to no one, and then leaving. But I do the exact opposite of that, right? So my personality, I don't enjoy having chit chat in the hallway. I don't enjoy smiling and saying, "Hey, how are you doing today?" But it's something I do every single day, and it's a constant effort because I know that's one of my personality weaknesses. Now, some of you are super introvert, right? I can't believe, and some of you are super extrovert. I think it was a mistake to teach teenagers those words. You guys shouldn't know what introvert and extrovert is. Just learn how to build your character and your personality, right? When you become an adult, you can start understanding that. But just because, and the reason why I think it was a mistake to teach teenagers those words is because I see so many of you, and I don't know, this might be future classes, but in general, I've seen so many teenagers who just go, "Oh, I'm an introvert," and they think that's an excuse to not talk to people. I don't care if you're an introvert. In the real world, when you get a job, you will be expected and required to talk to people you don't know, you do not want to. Your money is directly linked to your ability to do so. So get over your little introvertness, right? That's something I do every single day, and learn how to talk to people, right? Build those weaknesses. See, I don't even like calling myself an introvert. I prefer to not interact with people. Some of you are laughing. You're like, "Mr. Claiborne, that's what an introvert is." Like I said before, who taught you that word? You're a teenager. All right. I got off track. Let's just listen to the video.
Is talking to people about this word, awesome. And I'll say to them, what does an awesome life look like for you? What does an awesome career look like for you? What does an awesome path look like for you? And a lot of times the pushback I get from people is that they're just not awesome. Their industry isn't awesome. They don't believe deep down that they can be awesome too. And I always push back on that in my own way, because the reality is we used to all believe we were awesome. Everybody felt that. And you know when you felt it? When you were a kid. Ask a kid what they want to be when they grow up. Ask a kid, "Hey, what do you want to do after school, after college? What's your dream?" And nobody has a small dream. When you're a kid, you have big, wild dreams. You want to write a book. You want to be a doctor or a firefighter or be an astronaut. You want to go to the moon. Every kid has this big, awesome-sized dream. But along the way, they get smaller, don't they? They tend to shrink when you become an adult. They tend to get small and quiet and vanilla and gray. But sometimes you bump into a kid and they remind you that everybody can be awesome. And I'm reminded of this by my own kids. I have 2 daughters, and they're amazing and fun. And one night I overheard them talking in the bathroom. Now, normally, if they're in the bathroom together, there's a huge fight and there's a toothbrush World War crisis incident. But this time, they weren't fighting. This time, they were actually talking about literature and books. And I heard my oldest daughter say something to my youngest daughter. She said, "Hey, did you know that the guy who wrote James and the Giant Peach also wrote The Twits?" And there was awe in her voice. And her little sister, without missing a beat, responded, "I know. He's got an amazing imagination, like me." Did you hear that phrase? Like me. Roald Dahl, who wrote those books, who also wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, has been called the greatest storyteller in our generation. But to my youngest daughter, he's a peer. He's a contemporary. They're on the same level. He has an amazing imagination,
Not
like
true.
she does.
His
As a
youngest daughter
child,
could
she
not write
believes
such
that.
a literary
She knows
masterpiece.
that's true. She knows that the world is wide open. There's so much possibility. But along the way, you start to lose that. And maybe that happens to you in high school. Maybe that happens to you as you get ready for college. People say to you, "Hey, what's your major? How will you ever turn that into a money-making major?" And that's not to put pressure on your major, but I don't want you to go down the wrong path. I mean, there's college seniors I talk to, and they'll pull me aside after a speech, and they'll say, "Hey, my mom always told me I'd make a really great lawyer. And my dad always said that too, and teachers told me that too, and I felt this pressure."
All right, John. Slow the brakes. Let's pump the brakes just a little bit, John. I've got a differing opinion as to why people change their dreams. And it's been based on talking to you guys, talking to teenagers a lot, and watching you guys grow. Dreams are easy because they require no work at all. And it's funny, my first 2 years of teaching, maybe my first 3 years of teaching, one of my students, Joe Hendry, he gave me the nickname the Dream Crusher. And I thought it was really funny because I didn't crush anyone's dreams. I would simply ask people what their dreams were, what they wanted to be when they grew up. And as soon as they told me, I would then immediately tell them everything I knew about what they needed to do from now until then to get there. Or I would wait a day, I'd go research it for them, and then tell them everything I learned that night about what they need to do to accomplish their dreams. And every single student I did that with changed their mind. I don't think John is correct. I'm pretty sure John is wrong. And I didn't do this to make people not have those dreams. I wanted them to accomplish them. I wanted them to know what they need to do to accomplish those dreams. And I think that's the real issue. Dreams are easy because you don't have to do any work. Once you find out all the work behind them, well, it's not a dream anymore. Okay? So that's why I think the most important thing is loving what you do, right? That's the main thing I want you guys to take away from this part of the chapter. I guess in the previous video and in this video, the main thing, you have to actually have a passion for what you do. And that might take longer for some of you to figure out what it is. That is definitely the most important part in picking your career, what you're going to do for decades, okay? And that's a hard, tough, difficult decision to make for some people. For some people, you already know, and that's awesome. But I don't think he's correct in his assessment on why dreams change. I think dreams are easy because they require no effort, and it's fun to pretend. That's why video games are so popular. They're designed to be user-friendly. They're designed to be fun. They're designed to pretend, and they take minimal effort at first. Some of you are like, Mr. Claiborne, some games are super hard. Yeah, I know they are. But the first level is never hard. Okay? That's what makes games fun, and that's what makes dreams fun. The real world requires work. And if you want your dream to become a reality, you better want it so much that you're willing to put years and years of work into it. And then work into it. Once you accomplish it, you got to be willing to do it for decades. All right? Go ahead, John. Well, we'll let John go ahead and keep preaching. He's not actually preaching, but, it's an expression.
I took all these classes, and now I've applied to law school, and the truth is I don't want to be a lawyer, but I've gone so far down that path, and I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want you to pick a safe major or an easy major. I want you to pick an awesome major, because I believe that you can be awesome. I believe you used to believe you are awesome. That's how my life was. When I was in the 3rd grade, I wrote a lot of bad poetry. And a teacher named Mrs. Harris at Doyon Elementary School in Ipswich, Massachusetts, laminated it. And she laminated it and she bound it with ribbon, and I felt like I was a published author. And that day, she put this tiny little spark in my heart that maybe someday I could be a writer. Maybe even though life got busy and I had to grow up and become an adult, I could be awesome again. You see, that's my hope for you, because I believe you used to be awesome. And I believe if you work hard and be focused and make the right choices, you can be awesome again. Sometimes when I talk to people, they'll say, I wish I was more inspired. If I was only inspired, then I would really change my life. Then I would really change this world. And they kind of wait for inspiration to find them like a pizza being delivered. As if maybe you can sit on your couch and one day the doorbell will ring and you'll walk there and there's your dream. It was delivered like a pizza.
Good move, John.
And they have all these words about what they're going to do. Someday I'll do this. What if? And there's full of words. Everybody's full of words. But here's the simple truth. Words don't change your life. Words don't change the world. Do you know what changes your life? Do you know what changes the world? Action. Actions always beat intentions. And that was my story for 10 years. I wish that this was me standing here telling you wise stories about the amazing life I've lived. But it's actually the opposite. A lot of the stories I tell you are because I got a bruise doing something a certain way, and I don't want you to get that bruise too. I'd love for you not to have that same scar I have. And so for 10 years, I sat in a cubicle And I was full of words about someday I'll write a book. I'm going to write a book and it'll be amazing. But do you know what I never did during that 10-year period? I never wrote. I never got up early to write. I never stayed late to write. I never researched. I never went to writing conferences. I didn't do anything associated with action. I just kind of thought the words would be enough to change my life. They weren't. They just flat out weren't. So as you look at your life, as you start to think, how do I change it? I want you to remember that. Action always beats intention. The things you do are always more powerful than the things you're going to do someday. So if you want to change your life, if you want to figure out your calling, if you really want to work on all the stuff we've talked about, be deliberate about creating a list of actions and then knocking them out one by one.
Staying positive, definitely, because I'm surrounded by a lot of negativity, and that's not
All right, so
something
those
I
of you
wanna
watching the
bring
bottom
down.
corner of the
To
screen might have noticed
pursue
I
my
just had a
goals in
conversation
life
with somebody
and
off
not let
camera.
things bring me down.
I can
The
tell
main
people
point
what
of
to
this
do.
video
I'm pretty
is
good at
to
doing that. Well, I
kind
work
of
really good with
focusing
little
on
kids.
what
I
you
want to
want
work
to do
with
with your
little kids
life
when
as
I
far as
get
figuring out
older.
what your
So
passions
be
are
like a
and choosing your
pediatric
career field.
dentist.
So
Helping
again, like I
people,
said, some of you guys are going to figure it out in high school. Some of you might be like me and you won't figure it out until you're 22 or 23. But as you're trying to figure it out, make sure that you get a job and keep working. I just realized I forgot to mute the video. But get a job and work while you're trying to figure it out. Don't be stagnant. Don't end up on your parents' couch. Don't be one of them. All right? And that's it for this video.